the intro video. I didn't know I could. Hello, everybody. I love how I'm in midstream and then it's live. I am here with my incredible friend Al, and I've known you probably about 4 months now, I think, give or take. I think you got introduced to me as a possible person to be in the All About Woo Summit, and that's how we came to know each other. Was literally in July of 2024, and I'm just been in awe of you ever since. Like your how you step into the energy of, well, step into the light and step into your life is just really, really quite remarkable. And I want to expand on that a little bit with you because you're going through some new things right now. And I know I haven't done a little bio on you, but I think I'll let this speak for itself because you are going through some new things right now. Want to tell me a little bit about it?
So, I guess by the new things is kind of the topic that I was thinking of discussing today, right? I didn't know
Yeah.
if you're referred to something. Okay, yes. So I just want to make sure I'm doing this right.
There's no right or wrong, and you may have said one thing, but my ears perked up at the other thing. So we're just going to flow with this. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of set the stage with this because
Sure.
this started probably a long time ago, but it developed more before I did uh, it was a 3-day course with you,
Okay. Yeah.
and like with the dragon, inner dragon, and someone was I was working with another healer, and she was getting me to look at uh, the subconscious mind and get information from the subconscious mind. And when that happens, I've mentioned this before, I kind of I see the light, I see where it goes, and I see the transactions. The transactions are what's happening at an etheric level with the guides, with spirit, and all that. And I remember that when we were doing your 3-day inner dragon course, and the exact name you can say it.
Um,
No.
I too have evolved so much that you know what, it might have been something along the lines of get to know your inner dragon, but or come fly with your inner dragon. But there was something about inner dragon. Yes, yeah, meet your inner dragon. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so we did that, but part of it was we did an exercise where you you connected with a certain chakra. Do you remember? Yeah.
Yes.
So chakra, it was 21, and then we started getting messages. And then I remember you saying, because this is important, because what I do is always building on the next thing, and and the connection I made with you at that time helped me for the thing I'm going to talk about in a moment. But we were talking about, and I remember mentioning that etherically you've been there, because when you're explaining and getting us to do the messages from at a high level, you're showing us where to go. You're like, it's over here, it's over here. And I was thinking of that today. It's like, and I say trails because I know you're out on the trails. You're on the trail and you're like, you've examined this one, you've gone through this one, you looked over here, and you're like, it's over here, come over here. And you kind of show everyone where it is. And that's why people can make that connection quickly. So I made a few connections there. And then within a couple of weeks, I was, and you did mention one thing. You mentioned also you can do this with other parts of yourself. And we had not gone into that, but I just remember that I'm like, yeah, that's right. You're reinforcing it. And I'm saying within a couple of weeks, I was connecting. For the most part, I don't connect to a chakra anymore. I just go straight to, let's say, the Akashic records. So I connect to the Akashic records. I connect to the higher self. I connect to divine I am. And then I start asking the questions. And I did a few sessions with people like this, and it's very powerful. So I'm just going to explain a little bit how it works,
Sure.
because it's great stuff. And I think I think I mentioned it to you because I know you're going to build on it. So I always had, since I've been doing healings for the over 20 years, people are saying the higher self, higher self, higher self. Always ask your higher self. And I would say, well, if I ask my higher self, I'm not going to get the right answer always. It's not going to keep me out of trouble all the time.
That's right.
Right. And I kept thinking about that. Is it truly a higher self, or is it like a soul part? And can it get wounded? So I took that more than, I started working with that a little bit deeper, because I know we work on the soul gets wounded, but the higher self, I actually never heard anyone question it, except I questioned it and everybody would go quiet around me. Like, how dare you? I don't know. It's the higher self. It tells you. I don't know what it was, but no one would say anything about it. So now I started doing higher self and divine I am, which is very interesting. Divine I am is your divine part of yourself, but I noticed that they can be wounded. And the reason I noticed that is when you ask it a question, if you're asking it a question and you're not at the vibrational level, the highest vibrational level, you're not getting the same answer. You're getting an answer that's going to take you on a different journey, and you know that if you go higher, 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 you might get the right answer that will take care of the problem right away. So why is that? Right?
Wow.
Yeah. So
my mind is just rolling in the energy of this. I'm loving this. Yeah, thank you for bringing this in.
I see the energy is cranking up. It's getting really bright, so it's really good. So, if I do, so this is what I would do with people. I would prep them and say, we're going to connect to, I want to connect to, so you could say, I want to connect to my higher self. Now, and then you take a problem you have in your life, whatever problem is, I want to connect to my higher self. I connect to my higher self. You ask a question. And if the answer is not an answer of light, of love and light, it's a wound.
Okay.
So if you said, how come my child won't listen to me? And then the answer is like, well, you don't do, you're not the best mom, or you're not the best dad. I don't know what. You're like, well, that's not very divine of you, divine I am, or a higher self, right? So you go like, that is the wounded part.
Okay.
Because the wounded part is doing a pattern, and then we do a healing on that, and then the answer is different. And then the answer might be another accusation, or just kind of going around the answer. So you're not getting a response that's going to of love and light, as I tell people. Get back to that. So the process is, and I'm going to take a step back in, because I'm going to say a little bit more.
Okay.
If I say, and this is where I want people to connect higher. We talked about this before in one of our one-on-ones you and I have, but is the connecting to the guide at the highest level of love and light.
Wow.
And we need a guide at that level to connect to the highest level of love and light of the higher self. So I use the words divine and sacred. It could be, highest love and light, or whatever people say, it doesn't matter. But 2 qualifiers, just one is not enough. Love and light. So if you say, I want to connect, or I'm connecting to my divine and sacred higher self. And then you start asking the question. And you'll get better answers. But if you are connected at that level, and you're not getting, you're getting answers that are kind of blaming you or blaming someone else, that is whatever aspect of ourself not wounded. So I look at, and it's actually pretty easy to heal once you know that. So if you connect to that level, you ask the question, the answer is not love and light, then here's what you do. And this, you bring in your dragon crew. I bring in, angels. I'll bring in specialists, and just heal that higher self, that part of the higher self, that part of the divine I am.
Wow.
Uh, but I say the divine and sacred divine I am, right? Depends what words you use, but you have to get to that level. And then you ask your question again, and you'll see if the healing happened, that that it's going to give you good answers. So here's a question you ask them. Let's say you're trying to figure out a problem. So now I'm going deeper. So now I was saying the Akashic records, divine I am, higher self. It could be your soul aspect. It could be I guess it could be your inner dragon. You could do that if you're connecting. So if you want to know if your inner dragon is wounded, or inner child, right? We know inner child has a wound, but inner dragon, I would say too, it's an aspect. So it's probably like mostly whole, but the part of it that is not healed is the part that's going to probably get in the way, right? And give you those answers. So what I do is I would do, and I call in the higher self, divine sacred higher self, divine and sacred divine I am, and divine sacred Akashic records, divine and sacred Akashic record speakers, bring them all together. Then I ask a question of the higher self. What do I need? What message do I need from the Akashic records? So we don't need to go through, if you're talking at a very high level, you do not need to go and say, well, I'm going to unlock the Akashic records, close the door on my way out. Hi, Akashic record keeper.
I agree.
Give me right. That's that has never worked for me. And with the guides, it's like I get the answer regardless. And then so I keep bringing that crew, ask the questions. I'll be guided to talk to different aspects, and I'm usually doing this, like people are doing this, and I've been doing it in groups. So if I do it with a group, everybody's doing it, but I kind of have to focus on one person for a couple, because I have to have my energy there. I'm not at the point that I can just, float around and take care of everything at the same time. But amazing results. So I'm not sure if there's anything else. Do you have any questions about that? Yeah.
So let's just I don't want to take a step back. What I want to do is kind of be in this for a moment, okay?
Yeah.
Because you've just kind of you have literally opened the portal, is what I'm going to say. There's a lot of energy moving right now, and I just want to kind of touch base on a couple different things here. One is both of us are very much about the simplicity of things. That it is very simple to do things, and that I absolutely love that, because it just confirms for me how I'm going in is accurate. And I love that it was 1313 when I said that it's this confirmation for us, right? Secondly, I love the idea of, okay, the higher self isn't necessarily the end all to be all, because technically the higher self is all. Like, if it's all, then of course it's going to be wounded to some degree, because everybody's energy is in that, right? So I totally get that part. Do you want to expand on that real quick first? Because I'm
just making a note. Continue. Okay. I'll come back. I'm just making a note.
Okay. And I love the part about not necessarily needing to follow what mankind has laid down for the proper way to go into the Akashic records, or whatever thing there is that people go into. And I agree wholeheartedly. I same here. I go into the Akashic records in a different manner. I also want to swing around to, there was another piece of this. First of all, I am so glad that we're here talking today, because I have, since we last spoken even, I have had huge breakthroughs in this inner dragon work of really working with the emotions, physical, spiritual body, and going to be starting to do the self-identity, these 4 aspects of self, right? And coming in today and hearing the possibility of the inner dragon having wounded parts is a very critical piece that I personally needed to hear, so that I can again develop this even more now for the others who are stepping into the energy of their inner dragon. So yeah, we're covering a lot of stuff, and like you said, there's lots of energy moving. My whole body's just in this really interesting vibration right now. Yeah,
That's
where do you
really
want to
good. I
start?
could go. And I don't know if you're okay with doing it. Like when you talk about stuff, I get like key points I should bring up of things you said. So if you say about the Akashic record, someone might say, well, why, how come we're taught this certain way and it works well, and it's always worked that way, and now we're not doing it this way? Are we getting the same information? Are we getting different information? Are we going elsewhere? And the difference is, it's not that people haven't done it going directly like we are. I remember when I started with this, like it was over 20 years ago, like I said, but when I started Akashic Records around that time, they're saying, do not go because you could die. And I'm like, what do you mean you could die? Like you could lose your consciousness. You're like, you're going there and you can't come back, and you get pulled in. And I was like, all right. I listened, but I watched for a while, and and within 2-3 years, when I had access to it, I would go in. But here's the difference today is I use my divine part of myself to do the work. There's and I had 2 people last week who are very good healers, but they had little holes. Like I still have holes when I'm going through it as I go through layers, right? And they were encountering this, and I said, you gotta up your level, and you gotta qualify what you're saying, because there's gaps there, and if you can't plug the holes, you want to elevate higher so that it can't hold on. And then once you elevate at that level, you can go to the Akashic record really quickly. We're talking like, I want to go there, right?
Yeah.
I want to go there. What's the answer to this question? Am I asking the question the right way? It's a learning process.
Yeah. I want to expand on this a little bit too, Al. By no means are we telling people that they should stop doing what they're doing if they have a specific method that they're using to go into the Akashic records. That's not what Al or I are recommending or doing here. Ultimately, it's more of a testament to how far humanity has now come, that there are easier ways to do it now versus the ways that our limited way of thinking had us doing it in the past.
It's evolution. And here's the other thing. If someone's been doing Akashic records going through a manual process, they will probably, as they up their game, will probably have a farther reach than I, because they've been doing it for longer. Like it's like you're turning keys. You're just unlocking. You're like, whoa, like it's a lot. They will probably be able to do it at a level that I'm not at yet. Like I still have to keep growing to it. But
I want to say something to that real quick, Al, is that also too, I think the key part of what you just said is if they're doing it. If they're just dabbling, then what they have been taught to do to get into Akashic records is going to be the standard norm for whatever level they're doing it at. But if they are truly stepping into that and doing it actively, like it's a part of their active, not necessarily day-to-day life, but their spiritual life, then yes, they could be far further than you.
Yeah.
In the Akashic records.
Yeah. A very good example is, but I have my own way because it works for me. And let's say medical intuition, I'm trained in that too. So when I would go into a body and look, I'm seeing things. I'm like, what is this? I don't even know the body part. Like, I don't know I didn't know all the organs and this and that. I'm like, what am I seeing here? Right. but you can do it energetically. You can move. You can move. You can move. That's kind of what it is. I'm saying move, but at the highest vibration, that is love and light.
Yeah.
Qualify it, because remember we talked about the ghost, right?
Yeah.
Right. You just, if you call out, you're going to get a lot of volunteers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I was taught a long time ago, and this guide is a part of my posse, and I actually have a gatekeeper. But it's just somebody who's kind of there that helps to, keep that more to a minimum. Besides the fact that I truly do and have made the choice forever in my being moving forward, and I like this to filter into the back as well, doing things for the highest good, for the most benevolent reasons, and the greatest good of all. And in that, I tend to have clearer, cleaner assistance, as I guess how I want to say it.
Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more to that. What I see when you say that, right? Because, so you have like some enforcers, right? The gate, you said. I call it the heat. The heat is there, so let's not go. Let's not go there. But that's the word I get. But like throughout the life of your soul, you have. We're kind of changing the topic, but it's just a quick side thing. The life of your soul, you've done X amount of work that got you to this point. And everybody's done their own work, and you can kind of see, the more into healing, that you see where someone is at, and then you could see where someone has not connected all those aspects of themselves yet. So that's where you and I are like more experienced. So we just like, oh yeah, you want to know about this, that. And you'll find some people that struggle for years, and some people that just get into it and everything's fine, is because they're starting from a different place. It's like a diving board, many different levels, and they're not better than you. They did that work already, and they're just remembering now how to do it. Bang, and they connect from there.
Okay.
And I think, yeah. Okay.
So where are you being directed to speak of next?
Well, I'm going to go to, so I'm going to go to you. You did not say did you say the words collective consciousness?
I did not know.
No, but you were saying something that.
Well, basically what I implied was the higher self is everybody, not just my higher self.
Okay, so that was like something I did not think to say, but it is also collective consciousness.
Yes.
You can go to collective consciousness just like going to your divine I am. You're going to your higher self or the Akashic records. You can do that. And when you're doing a healing, you're healing yourself. Now, it's possible you're healing others, but you're healing yourself. So you could, if you're going to heal collective consciousness, yes, I understand we heal others, but you'll be pulled to go to your collective consciousness until the part of you is healed enough that you don't need to go there. And so that was another place we could go. And another one, so let's say is coming up, but let's say the pyramids in Mexico. I'm going to go there.
Okay.
And you know what? It's not just Mexico, it's Egypt.
I know.
There's a lot of I spend a lot of time healing things that these civilizations have done to people's souls. So for example, if we're on a pyramid in Mexico where they rip someone's heart out, or they drowned a child in a cenote, those things were happening because an energy was saying, I'll make it rain if you give me part of that soul. I know we're going off, but this is also, I guess this is what's coming up. So you have these kind of gods that were these gods that people were connecting to, and they were doing things. But I don't know if that makes sense to you, but they were saying, like, if you do this, I'll make it rain, or I'll bring the sunshine, or I'll help.
Yeah.
So it's of the
crops will
earth.
grow.
Yeah. So those things have not gone away, where we say, like, well, those civilizations are gone, but those gods are still there. And those are
The
collective
energy.
conscious. What's that?
The energy is still there.
Yeah. And they are collective consciousness too.
Yeah.
And what happens is, if you're healing something of a past life and you're pulled to there, if you connect to, and you'll see it, you'll look at which god, and they're just energy, but they call them gods, they're referred to as gods. Which god am I supposed to do my healing from? You connect to the highest self of that energy. I don't like saying the word God for that. To me, it's a false god. But that false god is going to show you it, or it can only do based on where the people are at. So people have changed today, and it's showing a different face of itself, but it still has that wound. That's where I'm going. I'm just showing. Yeah.
I really appreciate what you're saying, and I am understanding it at a very intricate level. So I'm hoping that people hear what you said, because the nuance of what you just said is massive. It's really big.
It is. It's normal for me to do those healings now, but yeah. So I think I went off a little bit. I don't know if you want to cancel me now.
No. No, I want to do a case in point, actually. I remember doing a vacation with my husband, and I'm not sure which state we were in, and Americans may very well know where I was versus where I know where I was. It happened to be where Custer's Last Stand was. Okay. And they have, of course, all these little signs that, oh, this Indigenous person was killed here, this Indian was killed here, this commander or corporal or whatever was killed here in that whole area. And then there's the area where Custer's Last Stand was. And I'm telling you, the energy that is there is like, if you're empathic and an aware empathic, you cannot walk through that area without feeling that energy. Like you just can't, and you will likely be very overwhelmed by that energy. And it's that is part of the collective consciousness. That energy is there.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
I get where you're coming from with this. Yeah.
So when you say it's overwhelming, is it like the wounding, or is it just a high energy place?
It both, because when I was there, it was I get imagery. I personally feel in. So there used to be a TV show called The Listener. And this guy, when he, like, they portrayed this guy who wasn't actually in the police force. He was kind of like a contract position. And he could come in and he would listen to the energy and be able to tell the police force, this is what happened here. And that's what I am like. I'm like the listener. I get the sense of what happened here. And so I get the emotions of the men and those last, hour or whatever it was that of their life, et cetera, et cetera. Like that's what I'm talking about. That's the energy that's sitting there, and it's part of all the energy that's on the earth. And that's not the only place that's like that. Like that, like you said, the pyramids of any country.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That is very deep stuff. I'm wondering if when you place your hand on someone, sometimes you see like a bunch of events and get a bunch of information about a person.
It's how do I want to word this? I'm going to say yes to that, because I've had experiences where I've had people come to me to facilitate a healing in them. And I'll literally get a year. And this year will not be in this lifetime. It will be like 1435. And I can tell them what happened to them in that lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I'm just
I know we've gone off on some really interesting tangents. What do you want to dial it back to anything specific, or are you comfortable with what we're talking about?
I'm okay. I only had one point that I wanted to say that came up about what we were talking about before. I had another
Sure.
point that came up. Well, but I'm okay going anywhere.
No,
I
no, no.
think
I'd love to hear that other point because I think it's really important to bring this full circle. Right?
okay. The point is, let's say someone has, so this process, I don't even have, kind of, it's releasing belief systems, but it changes very quickly. So if we are going to connect with the wounded part and heal it, let's say the problem is procrastination.
Okay.
And you're like, why do I procrastinate? And it says, well, because you're lazy. And if people have, like, they get those answers, right? Like, you're lazy, you've never done anything. And like, okay, that's not an answer of light. Now we're going to ask more. And so here's what I ask. So this just came up, but this is very important. This is the way I figured it out. I say, and I don't even know how I come up with this stuff, right? I'll just be told, and I'm just told again that the answer is, I'm told, is okay, divine, sacred, higher self. Tell me about your higher self, the wounded part, and I want to know, divine, sacred, higher self, are you at all participating in the procrastination that this person is going through, or am I? And the questions are, it's kind of talking to the universe here. You got to be the exact in a way, but it, like, you can say, are you involved in this? No. And I'm like, that's not a good enough answer. Like, are you participating in it? And if you get a yes, then what are you, like, what happened? And then
Yeah.
you might see images of what happened or why, but it's kind of digging and going, kind of hitting it with your light, shining a light on it over and over and over until it gives up, the wounded part gives up, and then you could bring in the healing. You could start off with the healing right away, but for some reason, we need to go through a little bit of layers right now when I do it. And an important question is, are you participating in this in any way? And then like, if it says no, then I might be told, go to the Akashic records, bring this, even go to the chakra. Like, I haven't done that. I haven't needed to do that, but it could be like, go to a certain chakra and let's ask questions there, right? And bring the higher self there. I think you can do that, and I'm reiterating, because some people are learning as we go. It's the higher self, divine I am, be the soul, and I've done it with the soul that way too. That the changes are massive when that healing comes through. Like, people feel it right away, and they're like, "Whoa, it's gone! Like, what it was is gone." I would do it with collective consciousness of the things we talked about, different aspects. I would certainly do the for you. I would say that the dragon, whatever, like inner dragon, whatever you're shown to do, I think that it's pretty powerful. And yeah, I know you do this already in some ways already. So it's just another tool, right?
Yeah.
It is I'll say it again, very powerful. One of the most powerful things I have on the go right now. Yeah.
I'm just I really enjoy talking with you, Al.
Oh, thanks. Well, I like talking with you. We have fun.
We do. We do have fun. Yeah, it's so funny. I wish you were my brother.
I may
And we
be.
are energetically, right?
Yeah.
I just want to see what wants to drop in with that, because it's almost as though I'm feeling the energy of this of a parachute, of somebody coming in a parachute, and I'm not sure what that somebody is, but I'm just really energetically getting this feeling of dropping in to this new awareness, I guess, if you will. Like there's something really magical occurring in this call for those who are ready to hear it at that level. I think, and you know, I just like the word level per se, but
Yeah.
there are different levels. There's going to be different levels. I think it's also very much about how are we using the word levels. It's not to say that I'm better than anybody else or anything else like that. It's more about an awareness. I like dimension or realm, but again, that's another use of level. But I really get the sense of a parachute, somebody dropping into here, and I don't know. It's almost like uh, it's like the children's toy, you know, when you got the little army guy and he had
Yeah.
the string wrapped around him and the parachute, and you'd throw him up in the air and he'd come down. That's the sense I'm getting right now. What are you getting from what I'm saying with that? What's coming up for you with that?
I was trying to see, but the only thing I get is like, yeah, we are opening doors, but as we talk, there could be, like, I would say literally, because at an etheric level, it's still
Yeah.
physical. They're just thinner, not as dense, but they're dropping in, and whoever is, like, listening, they're helping open the door, make those connections. I've never said it as parachutes, but if you're seeing that, because at some level, that's what's happening. So I think that's really neat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, you know, like, I think more and more commonly now too, it's being said that, oh, there's an awakening happening. Oh, there's an activation happening. Oh, there's a shift happening. And there is. There really is. I think it is spurred by conversations like the one you and I are having today, the one I
Yeah.
have with somebody else, the one that you have with somebody else, the one that other people have. There's so much shifting really quickly right now. And yeah, it's how do we want to be a part of that? How are we choosing to be in there? And I love the awareness that the continuing healing of that wounded part. I really appreciate hearing that. Yeah.
I think I think that, see, we're just, our reach is getting deeper every moment, and that's kind of what is a thought at one time, I wonder, or someone's working on it somewheres, and then they connect with other people, and then it starts going across to healers, and they
Yeah.
all keep connecting at that level, and take it further.
Yeah.
It's not that it couldn't be done before, because it was probably done before. It was done by some masters before, apparently,
Yeah.
in some way. But we, you and I we're not the same age, but we're close. And I'll just assume you're 15 years younger than me. I don't know how. You did tell me at one time.
That's very generous, but I don't think so. I think I'm probably older. I'll be honest with you. I'm 61.
61. I'm
Yeah.
55.
Yeah.
I thought you were close to me. But okay.
I live life though, right?
Yes. You're out doing a lot of things, and you're young in spirit, and that makes a big difference. So here's my point. When I grew up, energy was thicker. You went to school, and maybe you're going to get a beating that day,
Mm.
possibly from a teacher.
Or
They were
both.
kind of phasing that out, but when when uh, when the when things went wrong, the answer would be like, this guy's trying to run me over with the car, you little kid. And back then they'd say, well, stay out of his way.
Yeah.
But today they're like, no, they're going to take the license away. They're going to go after the person, right? It's a different energy. But people who grew up, like my parents, born in the 40s, they have difficulty shifting. That energy is still strong with them, and we seem to have, like, the people are coming now have easier to access the energy. Doesn't mean that life is easier for them, but I think that the energy is quite different. And when I say energy is there's the energy of the universe that flows back and forth, and there are ebbs and flows. And I think that it's actually getting in a way that we're able to see more and connect more and to receive more of ourselves. As I just said that, I'm going to add on to what I was talking before. So we were doing this healing. I was doing this with one person for the higher self, and she just healed a big aspect of herself. And then she said, "Oh, I got a new guide that just came in." And I said, "Okay, so let's," and we tested to see if the guide was good at the level. Otherwise, we dismiss it and go, "Thank you very much," but and bring in another guide that's a higher level. But then I was like, "All right, so that means you're starting a journey. You're starting this journey with this guide. This guy's going to be with you until you don't need this guide anymore." And I said, "Let's fast forward that." And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, ask your higher self, do we need this guide? Can we just heal so the guide leaves and you get the next one? Like, can we just heal that, or do we have to go through the journey?" And the answer was, like, through a little bit of healing with the higher self, is you do not need to go through that journey. We're just taking quicker.
Wow.
That's important to say too. So that's very and I think I mentioned this with you at some point before. The divine I am. Okay, well, we're going back, but this is very very strong. The divine I am has the ability to create like a matrix-like environment if it's wounded. And by that is, it will trying to think of how I'd say it. It will put you through the story to heal the things you need to heal. And the wounded part will create that story, the environment for you, and show you the things and the signs and the guides and everything based on what that wounded part can give you. And if you heal that wounded part, it pulls back those guides. And the more you heal those wounded parts, the more the higher self can give you the things you need that are at a higher level. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's huge too.
Yeah. It is. It is.
I could take that further. Then you're going like, wait a sec. Now, well, if we could do that, then I want to know about male, female, masculinity, femininity. Am I in a matrix? Is this real? What's going on? What is going on? And you got all these aspects you could look at. Am I as a soul, right? Some people say, well, you don't have a gender as a soul or a sex, but do we have a twin flame, right? All these questions. So I think those things are answered by I would say, the creators of that, because I know that that those aspects at a very high level they create the sacred geometry to connect our soul to our physical body. They can do all these things. So now it's like less of a me against the world than me against myself, more, right? Yeah, and I'm like focusing on these different aspects that make a huge change in my life. And I think that's what we're introducing to people today. So, like,
again, I absolutely love speaking with you. I love that phrase, me against myself versus me against the world. I think that's the epitome of what humans do. They don't recognize that that's what they're doing. And those who do start to recognize that that's what they're doing it's amazing what your life can be like. And I just want to kind of come around to, like, we've only known each other for a very short time, and obviously there's a reason why we've been brought together, why we keep talking about these incredible things. And I see the forward thinking in myself of the way I've been thinking, of the way I've been moving through the energy, how I'm expanding, how I'm open to these other ideas coming in, and how I'm working with the light, towards the light, in the light, however you want to phrase that, right? And I very much see you as a co-worker in that, a co-partner in that, a standalone, whatever it is. Like, you're forward thinking, and you love, just like me, you love the ability to be open to the new reality, or to the possible realities. And I'm in awe. I'm in awe once again when I speak with you.
I think, but thank you. But thank you. I'll just say thank you.
For sure. So if anybody's listening to this, feel free to drop some comments into the posts. Al, I'd like you to say your name, say like who you are, as well as who you help, just to kind of wind this up so I can say something after that. So who are you and who you help?
My name is Al Danais. I am, my handle is the Spiritual Abundance Coach. I help people overcome blocks to their spiritual growth. And again, like, I just work with people. I look at the light and I look at the transaction. So that's how I know what's happening. And what was the last thing I had to say?
No, that was beautifully said right there. For those who are participating in this, I really want you to understand that Al is a very unique human being, and his ability to see the light is very remarkable. Most people don't see the light the way he sees the light. And if you have the opportunity to have a conversation with Al, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Thank you so much, Al. Really appreciate
thank you. Thank you, Sandra. I'm just gonna say I'm saying hi from Thailand. It's night here right now, but I come back here, and all these things heal for me, right? Different place than Canada, and just different place, and then we talk every few months.
Yeah.
So
Well, and it feels very much like your soul home or something. Like, I've never been to Australia, but I know I've got extremely strong ties from the beginning of time back in Australia. So I'm looking forward to the day that I go to Australia. I get it. Yeah.
there you go. So you're gonna go biking there?
Yeah, for sure. Also, you have this beautiful gift that you want to share with people.
Yes. So what is it? This is called overcoming a destructive habit. And it's a meditation using the divine and sacred guides. And you won't hear, if you can go download the meditation, it's free. And I used it, so you won't hear me invoke the guides at the beginning, but you'll hear the commands all the way through. And what it does is it takes, I wanted to, like, a few months ago, slow down my sugar and like my intake of Coca-Cola, and and uh and I've always been addicted to Coca-Cola, and sometimes I kicked it for a while, but I was having difficulty, so I asked the guides what to do, and I wrote down what they said, and I listened to it. I recorded, played for myself, and then it stopped. It stopped for like a few days, and then I'd play it again, and it stopped. Like, I did not. I would think of it. I would think of like sugar high or whatever, but did not act on it. And then when I came back to Canada, well, then I'm going through airports and airline food and all that. So I started having my pop again when I would stop somewhere. Then when I got back to Canada, I listened to it again. So then same thing happened when I came back to Thailand this time, but now everything's just like letting go, like, of the, so So it takes like your top 5 habits that are causing you problems. So I didn't even say Coca-Cola, but that was one that I wanted in my head. And you could say it when you're listening to it, what you want, which one that you want it to focus on. But it does work really well for me. And I know of other people who've listened to it, and it's helped. It's helped. And it will help immediately. And then it's also a downward curve. So just keep listening. At first, you want to listen maybe one a day for the first 3 to 5 days, and after that, as needed. Yeah.
I just want to put that into the comments so people can actually copy and paste it as well. I think that's really important. We all have some sort of habit. I have 3 cans of my bad habits sitting beside me, and it's not beer. So I like the opportunity to do that. Al, thank you so very much for being a part of my world and the world of the people that I know, and being able to spread the word of the light and looking at things in a different way. I love how you empower us like that. I really appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you, Sandra. Have a great evening or morning for you. Have a great morning.
Yeah, I got up at 6:30 a.m. and what time was it that you first messaged me? And you're in Thailand?
About half an hour ago. So, or no, half an hour before we started. So it was 8:30 at night here.
Yeah, so 14
oh yeah,
hours
so it would have been. Oh yeah, it was 6:30 when I met. Oh wow.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Okay, I thought you were up because I saw you on Facebook clicking stuff, like you were clicking stuff. So.
Thanks, everyone.